And we are live. Happy Thursday, you guys. I hope y'all have had a pretty good week. It's just going to be me to start out tonight because Clary is he's not here. He's actually out in Minnesota, and so originally I was going to laugh at him for that. I was going to because he hates it there, and he did everything he could to escape there. But when I texted him earlier today to ask if he wanted to come on, if he had time. I figured he wouldn't, but when I texted him, he goes, no, I can't do it. I'm spoiling my nieces. And I go, good decision. What are you guys going to be doing? And he replies, money, sugar, hugs, and adventure. So Lord knows what he's actually doing, but it's probably more fun than going and yelling on YouTube, even though I swear I saw him doing that all day when I was popping in and out on his own channel. But anyway, we actually have a really, really cool show tonight because for the longest time, I've been getting more and more questions about bookkeeping. And of course, I'm all about the tax, because that's what I do, that's what I love, and that's what I know the most about. But tonight, I actually have someone who I've known for about a year and a half now. We originally had a consultation about, I think it was last May, so May of 2022. And he was asking about potentially starting a tax or a bookkeeping practice. And he ended up starting his own bookkeeping practice. And so as many questions as I get about bookkeeping, I'm relieved that I can finally bring someone on who really knows, who successfully managed to start his own practice. So his name's King Krab, and we'll get him on in just a little bit. But first, as you know, the most important thing first is tonight's beer is going to be Lagunitas Hazy Wonder IPA. I don't think I've had it before. I'm a big fan of Lagunitas IPAs, like their little something something, and even their regular IPA. This one I don't think I've had. It's 6.0 alcohol by volume, so it's not anything crazy. Let's see how it tastes. I'm a big fan of hazy IPAs, especially when they say that they've got citrus hops in them. Always a favorite. So it's definitely very hazy. Smells very, very good. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Oh, that's good. It's really good because it is 6. Most IPAs are 6.5 and higher, and it's 6. So it's slightly lighter, but it actually has a lot of flavor and plenty of good hops. So another good choice and another good beer from Lagunitas. They actually have a brewery here in Chicago. Like they're based in California, but they do have a brewery and distribution center in the Pilsen area of the city, which it's near all these warehouses. I haven't been there since like 2015, but it's not in the best area. You can get there via public transport, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that at night. But eventually, I may leave Chicago. We'll see. But I do want to go by there one more time before I do. So anyway, I do want to fill you guys in about something going on the tax side of things before we get to bookkeeping. So exactly a month ago today, October 16th, was the final deadline to file tax returns for 2022. It was the final, I guess, extender's deadline. You had until then to file it and for it to be timely. So, I talked about it back then, but, there was a bit of not a crazy rush, but I did have kind of a busy week and weekend right before that to get some people filed. Now, once that deadline passes, it's not like the IRS and the states just shut off, accepting tax returns. You can still send them through. It's just they're not going to be considered timely. Wouldn't you know it that I actually still have a couple of people who I've been communicating with, and I did remind them, who still haven't gotten their 2022 taxes filed. And here's the rub. starting the 18th, which is Saturday evening at midnight Eastern time, so a little over 48 hours from now, nobody can electronically file any more tax returns with the IRS or states until they open it up again for tax season 2024, which is going to be in late January. So basically, anybody who hasn't gotten me their stuff by now is just, not only are they a real deadbeat, but they're just incredibly dumb, because I promised I wouldn't be doing this too often, but I did remind these two slackers. I was like, just so you know, this was last Friday, so a week ago tomorrow. I said, just so you know, in a week, we're not going to be able to file anything anymore. I still don't have your stuff. If you want me to file it, you really need to get me the stuff like pronto. So one person I didn't even hear from, so they're fucked. Like I don't even have time to get their stuff together. The other one is a little bit more interesting because she I finally heard from her on Monday, where she submitted a bunch of documents, and I ended up doing it or earlier this week, and there were still some things missing. And so I wrote her an email and I said, listen, I think we're missing some things. You really need to get me that stuff. We're running out of time. Like, get it to me, or it ain't getting filed until January. So just a few hours ago, this is so funny. Just a few hours ago, she finally emailed me the missing documents. And so earlier I wasn't doing a whole lot, so I went ahead and finished her return. This person owes combined federal and state about $15,000 in taxes. So she's going to get hit with a major, well, maybe not major, but certainly some penalties and interest for, one, missing that deadline, the one from a month ago, and two, not submitting estimated taxes. And this is the best part. Here's a little tip for you guys going into tax. If you're doing everything virtually and you're about to send somebody the results and they're really bad news, I think I've talked about this before. Send an email in advance before you send the returns and signature pages. Let them know what the results are. I wrote this long email saying, this is what you owe. This is why you owe it. And you want to break that down, because remember, if somebody finds out they owe a lot of money, they're going to either blame you and say you did something wrong, or play dumb and be like, that's not possible. So what you want to do is just kind of get out in front of that. So anyway, I did that earlier, and she wrote me back, and she's just like, what? I don't have the money to pay that. That's not possible. What am I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to write her tomorrow, and I'm going to be like, look, today is the very last day that you can sign these tax returns, and I can file them for the next, almost 3 months. Well, it's like 2.5 months. But I'm going to say, you can either accept these results, and again, I'll point out how I outlined why the person owed. And yes, a lot of it had to do with not submitting proper estimated taxes and withholding, which she knows how to do by now. This is not a new client of mine. So I'm going to warn her. I'm going to be like, if you can't pay, that's fine. And I'll show her where you can apply for a payment plan at the IRS website. Illinois doesn't like those as much, so that's a bit more complex. But at least the IRS, where the vast majority of what she owes, that'll get automatically approved. But if she doesn't pay my fee up front, and if she doesn't get me those signature pages by close of business tomorrow, which is 5 p.m., that's it. Because I'm not going to sit around, all Friday night and then throughout the day Saturday just waiting for her to get everything back so I can file. I'm just not willing to do that. She's had 10.5 months to get this filed, and she had no excuse for missing it. So tomorrow morning could be pretty interesting when I end up sending her all this, because she was pretty pissed about the results. But it is her own fault, and it is equally her own fault for waiting until now to get everything to me. It was just pure laziness, nothing else. So this brings me to the other thing I've been working on this week. Let me see if any of you can guess what I've been doing this week and why I've been doing it with a smile on my face. And to give you a hint, it's the same thing I do in mid to late November every year. And it always makes me happy. It gives me a little devilish like smile. I don't know. Well, I don't know if anybody will be able to guess this, but why has this week been so fun for me from a business standpoint? Um, I'll see if anybody wants to guess. If not, I'll just tell you. And it's also, yeah, you got it, Nick is Steve. I am making my cut list, my fire list. And I've talked about this extensively, but it's essentially people like the one I was just describing, like ones who are completely, delinquent with no excuse to do so. So if you did what this person did, you're gone. And so that person will get fired. Well, first they have to pay me, and first we have to submit their returns. If they don't do that until January, then I'll just fire her in January. I don't care. But people like that, people who just yeah, essentially people who just either were disrespectful, lazy, annoying, stupid, asked me too many questions, complained about the fees. Basically, anybody who just I just don't want to deal with them anymore. That's been making a list this past week. The list is smaller than it was last year because I really cleared out a lot of we'll just call them malcontents last year around this time. But there's still some, and you're always going to have some people that you're going to end up just chopping because there's just a lot of times it'll be people you never suspected. I've had clients I've had for 7 or 8 years that one year just decide to be shitheads, and then they just get the chopping block. So that's what I'll continue to work on that next week, right before Thanksgiving, just because I enjoy it, and then I'll probably let them know in early mid-December, along with, to be fair, a good referral to a colleague who is starting his own practice, or maybe a couple of colleagues who need clients. So that's the plan. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And the other thing that needs to be said about that is that I used to feel kind of guilty when I did that. Even the ones that I thought were treating me poorly or just a major pain in the ass, I used to just kind of be like, well, I don't know if it's the right move. That's probably wrong of me to just get rid of them. But like I've been saying till I'm blue in the face, there's a shortage of people like me right now. So by holding on to clients who are bad, you give up the opportunity to bring on clients who are good and who are going to pay you more. So that's certainly something I've learned in the last couple of years. And yeah, I'll give Clary some credit for helping change my mentality on that. But yeah. So I am going to bring King Krab on here because I don't want to ramble a ton. First, I'll read some super chats and then I'll bring him on in. So homeschool time, thank you very much. Like the video. Okay, Lord, for $10. Cappy tax-free day. Rest in peace, H&R Block. A new one, Kraken Krab. I don't know what Kraken Krab is. It's just King Krab. But anyway, we're going to talk to him. He may have some things to say about H&R Block. So you'll hear about that. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, Lord. What is up, Chunky Gecko? Let's see who else. Good to see you. Nick is Steve. Downbeat Financial. Hat and Clogs for $2. What's up, man? Good night. Merry Christmas, Chad. And then he's got, the Santa Claus tree, presents, money, Easter Island money. Good night. Isn't it only like, 7:43 p.m. or 8:43 p.m. where you are? Well, that's okay. Thanks for the super chat, man. Mighty Zane, I haven't seen you in forever. Greetings from South Florida. Yes, Nick is Steve. That person is going to have substantial failure to pay penalties on top of that. So I love it when this happens. I warned them about it, and then they get something in the mail from the IRS, a few months later, and they're like, "What is this? I can't believe this." And I'm like, "I tried to warn you that your own laziness and stupidity is going to cost you money." So yes, I fully expect that they will be getting a letter from both the federal and state agencies. But by then, I will have undoubtedly fired her. So who cares? See what else we got. When are you gonna file? When you firing the biggest asshole of them all, Cappy? You know what? Clary's actually a pretty good client, except for paying his estimates way too early, which is better than paying them way too late. Yeah, but no, Clary's a good client, so I'll keep him. Thomas Brown asks, do you typically bill a la lawyer based on the hours spent working on each return or based on the number of documents, items to be included with the return? I actually get that. I get that question kind of a lot. People will handle it different ways. What I like to do is just have kind of a flat rate, kind of a base rate. So you say my minimum for 1040s is X, and my minimum for S Corp and partnerships is Y. And then you just kind of bill based on complexity. So you can do that either by form or by time. So you just have to come up with a good minimum and then kind of go from there. See anything else? When am I going to be on Fresh and Fit? I would, hey, whenever they'll have me, but I think they already have a money guy on there. Plus, I think they got demonetized, although they still get super chats from other sources. Clary was telling me that last weekend, actually. I'll read this last one, and then I'll bring King Krab on. Adam Nash, recently licensed CPA in New York. I'm an auditor. How can I start my own firm moving from audit to tax? It seems impossible to transition. Audit is really, yeah, I don't think audit is really that good for self-employment, but it's not that hard to transition to tax. You just have to learn a little bit about tax, get some experience. And I've talked about H&R Block, although King Krab might have something to say about that. But yeah, it's really not as hard as it sounds. And you guys, I am getting more questions on here, but I do want to bring King Krab in. So, you know, tech stack, share minimums are for tax returns. I'm not going to share what my minimums are for returns because, you know, only clients or prospective clients get to know that, but it can vary. But you have to come up with the minimums that make the most sense for you. So that's all I have to say about that. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on the Krab himself, King Krab. So, Mr. Krab, how you doing? Can you hear us okay?
Generic greeting, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Like I was telling them, you know, we had our consultation, like a year and a half ago, and we caught up recently, actually. It was in the last week, and you had generously offered to talk a little bit about bookkeeping because, you know, as you know, I just do tax. So that's why I'm really excited to have you on tonight. So you guys, please feel free to ask King Krab any questions about bookkeeping or really anything that we're going to talk about, because I think this could be really beneficial for those who either watching live or catch the replay, because I get a ton of questions about starting a bookkeeping practice. So, Mr. Krab, please tell everybody about your background and, you know, how you got into all of this and how we found each other and stuff like that.
So I just want to make this clear at the start. I have very, very, very little accounting experience. I didn't go to school for it. I was a safety guy. Here's a $10 tip. Never get into safety unless you like picking up corpses and fingertips. Don't do it. And the only real accounting I had was my own personal budgeting, as well as running a small painting miniature business that I started when I was 15. That's it.
Nice. And what would you say? No, I actually can't remember. I know I asked you this a year and a half ago, but like, what was it that drew you to accounting in general? And I know you have a whole story with this, but I'm just saying, like, what made you want to shift over from what you were doing to this type of field?
Well, I was very unhappy with the job I was doing at the time. Like when it comes to safety, if anyone's a safety professional, hello safety doc, if you're out there, he does a similar thing as I did. Essentially, it's just you're there when people get hurt, you're taking care of them. There's no remote options unless you're in consulting, and they really don't give those to like people in their early 20s. And at the end of the day, like it was during COVID. I was working full time during COVID. There was no remote option. I was a central worker, and you're just dealing with Americans. And like Cappy says, Americans are not the best workforce. And I got tired of employees trying to stab me, hit me over the head with beer bottles, slashing my tires. I just getting sick of it. And upper management and the you're gonna hear this a lot during this podcast, but God, I hate meetings. I would have meetings 4 or 5 hours about nothing every single day that had to be in person. I was just like, I'm done. I'm tired of this. The money was good, I will give you that, but I was working 8 hours a week, 13-hour shifts, night shift too. And even when you're off the clock, people will call you. So I'm like, you know what? I spent a year trying to figure out what I wanted to be. I looked into becoming an electrician, plumber, trades, maybe engineering. And then I'm listening to Cappy for over 6 years now. I remember buying his book when I just got out of college, Bachelor Pad Economics, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. Excellent book. Go buy it. Not sponsored, by the way. And I just, your show popped up. I like numbers. It's weird. I love doing tax forms. I like helping people with their finances. I'm just like, I found my calling. So I started to work towards getting to that goal.
Awesome. And now, when we had our initial chat back in May of 2022, and I really want you to kind of tell people how things progressed after that, because you've actually got a very interesting story that led you to where you are now.
Oh, it's going to be entertaining. Wait till we get to H&R Block. So, all right. So essentially, when I first contacted Chad, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to do taxes. So he gave me a very robust set of things to do. He said, by the way, thank you for saving me $24,000 so I didn't go back to college for Western Governor University. I basically found out I didn't need a CPA. All I needed to do was get the enrolled agent, which then I started to study for while working full time. But I also don't do this. I was really so desperate to get outside of my line of work because I was in the city, bosses, high cost of living. I was just like, you know what I'm going to do? I hear H&R Block is a great idea. They'll train me. Well,
That's what I
why don't we
thought.
go work there?
And to be fair, that's what I had been telling a lot of people, but you're going to enlighten them about some other things.
Oh yeah. So basically, it was the end of 2022. I started to use the H&R Block income tax course, which I will admit, I like being fair, like giving people credit. They have an excellent tax course for $150. It's 15 chapters. It's a very good certification. I highly recommend it. If you don't know enough about taxes, go do it. It's a very good course. It's a lot better than what Surgeon is offering, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
But no, so I basically took a 50-hour tax course within a week, and I passed the exam. I got my certification. I got my PTIN number, which they know what that is, right?
I'll remind it. PTIN is what you need to get from the IRS to register as a tax preparer, and you don't need anything except, basically a social security number and a, clean record, ideally. But go on.
And it's only like $30. Like it's
Yeah.
it was very easy to do. I was surprised, and people like seeing that because they really don't have to do a background check, from my understanding.
Yes.
So once I did that, I applied for H&R Block, and then this is where the nightmare began. So I interviewed, I got hired. This was probably this is the tail end of December. It was like December 24th or something. I'm not quite sure. So I got hired, and they basically were like, okay, we're going to pay you $21 an hour if you can pass our training course within a week. I'm like, okay, that's fair. I have no experience. I just passed the course. I wanted to try this. I was working full time, so I was working 60 hours at my current job at the time. I said I can do weekends and evenings, so I was going to do another 34 hours. I like working. It's a problem. I know. So after I did that, they're like, fine. They stalled for 4 or 5 days saying, oh, our computer system isn't working. You're not clear for the system. I couldn't even start the training until like the Thursday night before I had to get this all done. And once you get the training from H&R Block, it is 48 hours of training.
48?
48 hours. And 20 hours is like training on how to sell people credit card.
Just to interject, if you guys haven't figured it out, although some of the others who I've had on here have been a little bit more positive about H&R, this is a great opportunity to give you kind of another perspective. So please continue, Krab.
Understood. And yes, if you guys have different experience, I'm so happy for you. I didn't. So essentially at the time, so I'm like, okay, fine. So they basically said, well, you didn't get the training done, 16 hours, and they didn't pay for the training. I'm like, okay, fine. I really want to get experience. I want to learn how to do it. So I was there for about a week. I had to go in person. They did not offer remote. I had to wear a suit and tie every day after work. I know. I was getting paid $16 an hour. I literally went down the street to the Burger King and the Pizza Hut. And they're like, yeah, we're starting at $20 an hour. What the hell?
Yes.
So I went there. I got written up the first day because I did not answer their phone call the prior day because I was at my other job. We're not allowed to have phones on the production floor. So I don't have access to it all the time. So I got written up the first day I stepped in. Kept working. I actually did really good. I knew how to do taxes because I watched Chad's show and took some classes. And essentially speaking, like I was doing great. I was helping out the other CPA there. We were hitting it off. It was going great time. And then again, I couldn't answer my phone because guess what? I was working my other job. I got written up for twice. They just kept going. And at this time, my boss was just like, he allowed me to have the same job, but he's like, look, there's a lot of projects coming up. I will pay you overtime, which is like 4 times what they were paying me then for extra 10 hours. So I just said, sorry, guys, this isn't working out. I quit. I put in my paperwork. I did the email. Ironically enough, this is when as I call it, the ex-girlfriend syndrome popped up. They called me back. They tried to rehire me. They said, oh, $21 an hour. I said, no. A week later, they said, hey, we don't have anyone. Can you come back? I said, no. And they stopped calling after about the 3rd time. But then I found out later on that, guess what? They never really fired me. I'm still in their system. I'm still getting emails for their discount offer. I just got invited to a party the other week.
Two quick questions here. Like, first of all, written up, does that just mean they give you some kind of like written? What does that mean? Like, what were they doing? What were you getting punished or something? Like, what is that?
It was like a 3-step program. So if I got written up again, they were going to do like a progressive improvement program or something.
A performance plan.
Apparently, I'm just like, like their main complaint was he's not answering his phone because he's at his other job. And I forgot to mention this. They also want me to come in early because other people couldn't make it. When I said, hey, I can only be here another time. Quick note: if you're applying for H&R Block job, you have to be so detailed about your schedule. They ask you every day per hour if you're available or not. But then they don't listen to it.
Okay, so you were put off by that, and then it's like even with the pay, the possible increased pay, this soured you so much that you were like, I'm just not going back there.
I'll be honest, like it soured me from tax in general.
Really, like that's why H&R did that.
Ugh. Yeah, I was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm miserable. At least my company doesn't treat me like this. Like I have complaints about my last company, but I'm just like, at least they didn't do this. It was terrible.
Damn. All right, so that's H&R, that's tax. This was at the beginning of 2023, I think, right? Where all this went down. So let's shift over. So you're done with tax. Was it at this point you're like, you know what? I think maybe bookkeeping might be a better fit for me. Well,
I have a high tolerance. I kept slugging at my job until my boss kind of rage quit. So then basically corporate wanted me to take over and pay me $50,000 less than what he was making for the job. Ugh. I told him no.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a long story. I'm trying to be somewhat vague though. So at the end of the day, like at that point, I'm just like, I gotta get out of here. Like at this point, I think I emailed you that I said I just passed my 2nd enrolled agent.
Yes,
I believe so. Which the 3rd exam is not that bad. I gotta get the 2nd one done. It's just life's busy, as you're gonna find out soon. But at this point, I'm just soon trademark. But at the end of the day, it's just like I won out. They were also raising my rent. The business was getting crazier and crazier in the company I used to work for. So I'm like, why don't I give this bookkeeping thing a shot? So I looked up QuickBooks. I basically did my QuickBooks exams, and then I was like, you know what? This is easy. If the accounting people don't have their stuff together, I'll just start a business.
Yeah. Cool. And so, what was it like? I have my notes on what we talked about, but like you had mentioned that you had no bookkeeping experience. So
my bookkeeping for my business was I wrote down a piece of paper and a notebook, and that was it. Box receipt. Okay.
Well, inform everybody about where did you go from there?
So At the time, so this was probably around April-ish, I started taking the QuickBook courses, which I do highly recommend that the audience goes to Intuit. They get their bookkeeping course.
Yes,
It's a
Intuit has a good course for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good course. I'm going to give you some bad news about Intuit later, but their course, great. All you had to do is do the online desktop. You know, desktop is being phased out. And if you know absolutely nothing in bookkeeping like I did, do crash course in bookkeeping. Crash course is 8 hours. The other two are 25 hours each. You can get this done in a week.
And Crab, how much did those cost? You know, was it affordable
Oh,
to do
yes.
that? Yeah.
I recommend you take there's 3 tiers. Take the second tier, which is $700, and you get unlimited test taking. And there's always a sale, so just sign up and you'll get 25% off like every week or so.
Okay.
If I would came on earlier, National Accounting Day was last Friday. That's when they had the big sale. It's 35% off.
Nice.
And it was a great course. It taught me everything I needed to know. And there's also other topics like how to do nonprofit, how to do taxes that's available. But you want to get your 3 certs to begin with. Like I don't have a college degree in accounting, so I'm just starting from scratch.
So starting from scratch, this really did it then, like this course.
Yes, like I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like I know I listened to your channel some about what to do. I looked at some other people's channels, and it's just like bookkeeping's not that hard. All it is data entry, reconciliation, and monthly reports.
It's not hard, you guys. I'm sorry, no disrespect to people who, who've been bookkeepers for 30 years, but it's not rocket science.
No, it's so much easier than taxes. I'll be honest.
It is. Yeah.
So
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So essentially, I'm in the process of training 2 more bookkeepers, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But even they're saying it's not that hard. It's actually really easy. If you know how to do a budget, which if you're watching the channel or Cappies, you probably know how to do a budget, you can do it. Also, go subscribe to both of them if you're not.
So, okay, you took the course. It went well. And let's talk about, was it April you said you took that course?
Yes, April.
April. Okay. So, when did you officially start your practice? And we'll talk about how you got clients and everything, but what month was it? I have it on my notes, but I want to make sure I wrote down the right thing. Like what?
I believe it was early June.
That's what I had. Yeah. So
Okay.
June. What happened in early June? Talk to me about that.
Well, things went critical at my last job, so I'm like, the new person's coming in. Also, my landlord said, "Hey, you've been an excellent person, but we're gonna raise the rent $600."
Ooh.
Yes, it's
Didn't know that.
guys. It's okay to live at home. Rent's cheaper, and you have to live with people that like you. Hopefully. But at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I really hate this place. I quit. So I just gave my notice, and I packed up my stuff and just left.
Wow. Did you even give them 2 weeks, or you just kind of?
I technically did, yes, but
You did?
after I gave my notice, they kicked me out.
Oh, okay. That happens sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, they waited for my boss to get back from vacation before I did that.
So this was in June, but you already had kind of plans in place, so it didn't feel bad to quit because you were like, I know where I'm going from here. Then,
Well, exactly. And at the end of the day, like, hate to say this, but this is why everyone has an emergency fund. You don't know what life's going to bring, especially in these economic times. But so I'm like, I'm fine. I have a place to stay, multiple places to stay. I got my money. I'm just going to go do it. So I went and did it, and this is the secret cheat code. If you
you guys gotta. I did not know this. This kind of blew me away. So, Krab, please go on.
All right, guys, understand. If you're a tax professional, which I'm working on my enrolled agent, there's money to be made. But if you're so desperate or you want to get started, see if you like this field without going for the exam, this is what you need to do. I need you guys to go on Indeed right now. Type in bookkeeping or QuickBooks. I just did. There are 40,000 bookkeeping jobs. If you type in QuickBooks, there's over 18,000 QuickBooks jobs. There's more of a shortage, in my opinion, than accountants. There's more of a shortage of there's more of a shortage than bookkeepers than there are for tax preparers and accountants because no one's doing those jobs. I make good money because I do multiple W-2 jobs at once, and I have my own clients that I'm building up. There is money to be made here until you get your enrolled agent, and you can do it within a month.
And these are all bookkeeping positions, right? That you're doing the multiple W-2s?
Correct.
So did you hear that, guys? He went from not having any experience with this. He wasn't even going to do it. He was going to do tax. And now look at what's going on. So please continue, Krab.
I know, like I went from having nothing in June to having a very good business. I'm working, trained 2 bookkeeper, possibly 3. And I'm also bringing a CPA because your accounting people don't like risks for some reason. It's weird. I don't get it.
I did want to ask you, so does the CPA that you're bringing on, I understand if you can't share this, and just so you guys know, we're keeping things very private with Krab here because, you know, people don't like it when they're working. We just need to keep his privacy intact. But I mean, does the CPA, is he a bookkeeper? I forgot to ask you this the other day. Like, what has the CPA been doing that you're going to be bringing on?
To go back to one thing real quick, I was actually helping a buddy with their resume and applying the other day because this is a guy I'm training because I want to see if this is repeatable. And they literally had on job posting, you can only have this job, but it's part-time for 10 hours a week. So, not telling you guys what to do, but there's so much remote work and there's no one working. Now, what the CPA does is he's what did I say? He started like you. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yes, love the guy. He's a great guy. He's very good CPA. He just needs to be a little more risk. Like he has a cushy corporate job right now. Yes, that's the problem.
So so you've got these W-2s, but just so we make sure everybody knows what's going on here, it's not just the W-2s because you're getting your own clients, your own bookkeeping clients, correct?
Yes, correct. I'm not going to say how many, but I'm making over $4,000 with my own clients right now.
And I have this in my own, so I want to make sure I get it. Krab, I get this next question so freaking much when it comes to bookkeeping. Tax is one thing, but bookkeeping. Tell us, how did you find the clients that you have? Not the W-2 stuff, just your business. How did you find people to do bookkeeping for?
Oh, this is so easy. Like finding my own personal clients is so much more easier than filling out corporate paperwork for W-2s. Like the interview process is now insane. I have people that like, you need to give us a 10-minute video for W-2. I'm like, what? But no, it blew my mind how bad this market got lately. But it's very simple. I talk to people. One of my clients, my garage door broke. I was talking to the guy while he fixing. He's like, what do you do? Like everyone asks, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a bookkeeper. I do this. It's my business. I'm working on tax. And he's just like, we need a bookkeeper. Like, sadly, their bookkeeper was handwriting everything and she passed away.
So you were just like out doing normal things and you brought it up.
Yeah. Well, everyone asks, what do you do for a living? I just talk to people. Like, that's the best way because there's a big trend in America right now about being a small business owner. Yes. People don't have time to do like budgeting. And like Cappy said, everyone has their wives do it. Well, no one's getting married anymore, so you gotta do it yourself.
That's true.
Like it's everywhere.
So you didn't, and I want to make this clear, like you didn't like pay a firm to put you at the top of like SEO. Like you don't even have a website, I believe, right? You just talked to people then.
Wait, you can do that?
I think people forget that you can just talk to people.
No, I mean about like hiring a firm. I did not know that. Anyway.
Oh, well, I never did because I never had to, and neither are you going to have to do it.
So. No, I talk to people. I'm rebranding right now for personal reasons. So, hello, Atham. Hope you're doing well.
What's up, Atham?
But no, it's just like, yeah, I'm just working on getting things solidified, make the proper company. But guys, I'm being dead serious, and girls, if you're listening, there is no market. Like, there's so many jobs. Here.
Anyway, go ahead.
Like, there are so many jobs. Just try it. Like, my recommendation is get your certifications. I have 3 certs, and that's it. I'm working my enrolled agent. Get some certs. Get some W-2 jobs. If you get 2 W-2 jobs for $20 an hour, that's $83,000 a year. That's good money for the United States, and it's remote.
And keep in mind, he did this with no previous relevant work experience. He just took the course, found the positions on Indeed. You did that after you were somewhat confident in knowing you'd be able to do it, and here we are, right?
Yeah, correct. Like, Intuit has a great tax course. I wish they could let you play with the software more, but at the end of the day, software is only a few $100. And if you get a W-2 job, they give you insurance, they give you the software, and this is the best part. Some companies will actually pay for your enrolled agent and your study materials.
That's just criminal in a good way.
Take
So
advantage.
this is from the. You guys know I don't really have boots on the ground with this because I've got my own practice. So I mean, Krab here is telling me things I didn't know about. Regarding bookkeeping. I did not realize. I always kind of suspected a lot of the bookkeepers I know and work with are boomers. And you've heard me talk about how boomers are retiring. But I always thought that was more like the CPA firms and practices. And I've even experienced this really in the last few months. A shit ton of boomer bookkeepers are also retiring because they just don't want to do it anymore. They're getting old. Everything's becoming like fully virtual and they've just kind of had it. So what you said, I don't know if it's true or not that there's even a bigger shortage of bookkeepers than there are tax preparers, but it would not surprise me. And from what you're telling me, you may very well be right.
I think it is because one, you guys bookkeepers get paid between $20 to $45. It's less than tax. And the thing about it is though, like all the accounting people will go tax or audit or law. And at the end of the day, like with the bookkeeper, you need them daily. Taxes you need once a year.
Yes. True. And for the record, I've talked about this before. This is why I don't do bookkeeping because I'm just not the type of guy that kind of likes people that much. So I prefer to just deal with my clients like a few times a year at most. I mean, you've heard my stories. If you are going to get into bookkeeping, and actually, Krab, maybe you can give me your perspective on this. Would you say that you need to be more of a people person to be a bookkeeper, or are you more just kind of like it's just a different type of dynamic?
It depends. Like with my W-2 jobs, it's mostly emails. I might have a meeting once a week. That's about it. Like it's very not personal. Like they give you information emails because it's supposed to be efficient because you have clients there. With my own personal clients, I'll be honest with you, I'm scarred from meetings. I give my clients one meeting a week. If they want our meeting, it's $200 per hour.
I do recommend charging for your time. That's something
Yes.
in this dynamic, you don't necessarily do that with taxes, although you can. But yeah, I'm going to read this real quick. I just want to see if you agree with it, Krab. The number one reason bookkeeping is so good versus when I did it 10 years ago is that you can do it remotely. Would you say that's what you like most about this? Is that it's like remote? Yeah.
Yes. Because going back to what I said earlier was they don't pay very well. You're going to get between $20 to $45 an hour. You're probably going to make $20 to $25 an hour starting. You can stack that up. You can triple dip and do the same time. With my jobs, I probably spend about 3 hours per job. I work 8 to 9 hours a day with my W-2 clients.
How many hours a day?
Like 2 or 3.
So what I have this in my notes, but like how many hours per week are you working with all of this typically?
50 or 60 at this time.
Okay. So it is hard work. I mean, you can't just sit around and do nothing, but it's satisfying. It's remote.
Yeah, it's remote. I can do other things during the day. I can help out around the house. And at the end of the day, like for those that have to work in a physical office place, you're only working an hour or two. Rest of the time is just talking to the coworkers, listening to your boss about the sports ball. Like if you're remote, you can just do your job, and if nothing's going on, you can play some video games and just read a book. And one more thing, this is very important. Crap, I'm thinking, what was it again? Oh yeah, you're gonna make the money if you can just triple dip. Like you can multitask, and you really don't have a busy schedule. It's consistent. There's no emergencies going on, unless it's the end of the month. Then you're doing reconciliation. I hate pronouncing that word.
Reconciliation.
Reconciliation. Thank you.
Just a couple of things I want to add. Now, this is Chicago and other big cities. Bookkeepers here can charge $50 or more per hour, so it's somewhat, depending on where some of your clients are. So you can get that up a little bit. So that's one thing. The other thing is that do you feel like I'm seeing these comments? I was going to address this later, but I'm seeing it like I don't feel that bookkeeping is at risk for being automated, but I get that question a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say good luck.
Yeah, it's too complex. I don't think you can do it.
And let's be fair, if everything gets automated, then we're not working at all anyway. It's just like the horse and buggy argument. Go find something else to do, guys. Yeah, I think it's too complicated though.
I think so. Certainly, everybody says, I laugh when people are like, oh, taxes are going to be automated. Yeah, anybody that uses TurboTax can probably get that automated at some
Oh,
point.
don't get me started on TurboTax. I got a rant about them too.
Listen, I'm going to call timeout so I can get a refill here. But if you want to have the floor to yourself, if you guys have any questions for Krab in the next couple minutes, throw them on here. I'm just going to get another beer and I'll be right back. So you good with that?
Yep, I just gotta put the YouTube thing on so I can see the comments.
Okay, I will be right back. And mute it if you put the YouTube. Actually, Krab, you should be able to see the comments here in StreamYard. Do you see them? Click where it
No.
says live. You don't see them?
No, I do not see them, sadly.
Okay, well, put it on YouTube if you need to. Just mute it, and I'll be right back, okay?
Yep. All right, guys, let's see how badly I can mess this up. 1 second, open up the comment section. All right, let's start some questions. It's working, I think. All right, do I post online or on Craigslist? Currently, no. I do more of a getting to know people approach. You could do that. I'm also in a weird spot where I'm currently also rebranding the company as well and training some people up, so I'm not quite ready. The best way to find clients is just talking to people you know, and also go on Indeed. Sometimes they're looking for a contract. Like on Indeed, there are some sites that are like, hey, we only need someone for 5 hours. You can find a lot of contract work there on Indeed, Monster.com, even LinkedIn. I know people love LinkedIn. Try work on LinkedIn. All right, next question. For software wise, I do QuickBooks. QuickBooks is Adam. I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks is literally just your one-stop shop. It's the gold standard. Everyone uses it. That's the software I use. Now for tax, you're probably going to have to talk to Chad. I'm not quite there yet. All right, Andrew, what's your question? All right, Andrew, this is more a question for Chad. My personal opinion is you should probably get for your CPA. Like if you're already saying if you're only in college for it, just get the CPA if you really want to do that because you can be audit or lawyer. It's up to you though. Like there are so many opportunities right now. There's no labor. All right, Nick, what are you saying here? You must be in big city.
What I miss? Everything good?
Everything's good. Just talking to chat. Andrew has a good question for you.
Let me scroll back up. Krab, you were able to see the chats, right? Obviously.
Yep.
Okay. I've had this on before. This is Daisy Cutter, half acre. It's pale ale, so good. 5.2%, but just tastes amazing. So, oh, you did get some good questions on here.
Mm-hmm.
Was it this one, Andrew?
Yep.
Andrew 2727. I landed a tax associate role in Chicago. I have 1 semester of college left. Where is my downtime best spent? Preparing for CPA, QuickBooks certifications, or find a tax preparer to get experience? Andrew, if you have a tax associate role in Chicago, that tells me that you want to go into taxes, not to state the obvious. And if you want to go into taxes, I don't think you should be working on a QuickBooks certification. You can do that on your own time, any other time. So I would say either preparing for the CPA or finding the tax preparer to get experience. I don't know if you can answer this, but is the company that you're going to be working for in Chicago going to pay for your CPA study materials and exams? Because if the answer is yes, I think I'd get started on that. It's a bit of a loaded question because I don't really know what your long-term goals are, but if someone's going to pay for your CPA materials and exams and you have time to get started on that, I would do that. Otherwise, get some tax experience. Let me see what else we got in here. That's another thing. Like Krab, remember, a lot of people think they have to go back to school to go, get an accounting degree and that they have to be a CPA to do tax or accounting, and it's or bookkeeping. It's like, I mean, the best part about today's world is you don't have to do any of that stuff, right?
I
And you're living proof. Yeah.
I completely agree. Like I remember when I first contacted you, I was like, I need to get a degree, and you're like, why? Like that was mind blowing. It's like we're trained from the school to go back to school. You guys don't need it. It's certification world.
You really don't. Here, I'm going to jump in here. Adam Nash has great advice. I agree. Get the CPA as soon as possible. And yes, they're trying to make it harder, which is so stupid considering the shortage. And also, if they're going to pay for the exam and materials, yeah, you jump on that, man. You have the best opportunity in the world. You're going to have time to study and take the exams. I would do that. This question from Drift R, I'm going to answer real quick. Is having a degree in accounting looking good for being a bookkeeper? You don't need to get a degree in accounting for that, but I don't think it hurts. Now, Krab didn't do this, but because he didn't have to, I don't think it hurts to take a course, just an accounting 101 or a couple of accounting courses. Never hurts to do that. But Krab, I think you're a quick learner and you're a hard worker. So,
Well, like I told people, I'm not the smartest crab in the shed or the bucket, but I'm a very diligent person. And at the end of the day, like I have a PTIN number. I passed 2 out of 3 parts of enrolled agent. I have 3 certifications from QuickBook and an H&R course. That's all I have for accounting. Now, my other field, I have like 50 plus degrees and certifications, but it doesn't matter anymore, guys. They need workers. No one's showing up at all.
That's what I'm hearing too. Again, mainly in tax. So the bookkeeping chatter is very, very enlightening for me because I didn't really know this stuff.
It's terrible. Like I'm looking at getting a 4th job because I'm bored because I like working.
I
Ironically
guess
enough,
60 hours a week isn't enough for you.
yeah, true. But I was talking to like some people and they were like, "No, we can't find anyone." Because I always ask some questions like, "How's the job search? How's the work?" Like you always have conversation. I treat interviews like having a date, just funner because you can mess around a bit. And I know these jokes are here all day, guys. I'm sorry.
I haven't had a job interview, like a real one, in over a decade. Like if I lost my entire business and I had to sit and like try to get a real job, I'd be screwed because I'm so out of practice with having to interview.
My quick side note, my personal opinion is if your career goes belly up for some unknown reason, which I highly doubt, you still have the YouTube channel, go work for H&R Block and expose them. That'll be like 1 million views in a day. It'll be so funny.
Actually, if I ever had like a shit ton of time and I didn't use it to put together a teachable class, and again, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, maybe I would go undercover and like, go take that H&R class and broadcast from it. That'd be fun. But anyway, there was a question if you were a CPA, and the folks in the chat were just saying that no, you just got your certification, with Intuit.
Correct.
And go ahead.
Thank you. Like I said, guys, like I did the tax thing because don't do this. Have a better plan than I did. I had money saved up. I was desperate. And I wanted to leave. I just said, I'm just going to do this and see if it works. Because if this didn't work, I can go back to welding because I'm a welder as well, or I go back to safety. It's good to have multiple skills, but it worked out. There's labor shortages. And my future game plan is to have my enrolled agent because I actually really like doing taxes. It's the weirdest thing. I enjoy it. And once I get that done, I want to become a financial planner so I can help people get out of debt.
Triple threat: taxes, bookkeeping, and financial planning. You get that Series 7 or whatever it is. Yeah. There's an interesting Monero Mateo. It's good to see you. It's been a while. I'm going to read this comment. I thought this was great. The quality of the average bookkeeper out there is not great. Put in 2 years at a CPA firm doing bookkeeping and you'll be all set to go on your own. I have heard that. And frankly, I've got everything pretty set up well now with my clients, but I've dealt with some bookkeepers that are actually very substandard. And we're talking some really older ones too.
Well, to be fair, and this is my personal opinion, I'm new to the field, less than a year. But at the end of the day, guys, like what isn't substandard anymore in America?
Yeah, that is true.
And they do pay, like, unless you do the multiple businesses at like multiple W2 clients at once, you're not making any good money with it unless you know what you're doing. But they're still better than H&R Block. Don't go there.
Okay, hold on. If you absolutely want to get into tax and you can't find anywhere else to get tax experience, that's when I'd say go to H&R Block. But I think, and I encourage Krab to talk about this because I try to keep it real with everybody. And you know, you're my boots on the ground. There is another side to H&R Block, and you just heard it. So just keep that in mind for
That
those
is
who want to.
that is fair. I will give you that. Now the
Yeah.
question is H&R Block as bad as Big Four? Yes.
Well, Big Four sucks, but it does make your resume kind of go thud. You know, when they see Big Four, they're like, "Whoa!" You know, because despite it being shitty, and they're still having trouble finding people. I've done streams on that. It's still a sort of the creme de la creme. You know, on your
Mhm.
resume. Is it something I would ever do again? No, but it is pretty good. So, Drift R has a question. I'll let you answer this one, Crab. He wants to know if I could start a bookkeeping business from Canada or anywhere in the world, could I get US clients?
Yes. It's
I don't
remote.
see why not. Yeah, it's fully remote. Why wouldn't you be able to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not North Korea, but that's about it.
Another good comment here. Yes, I know some other people that outsource their bookkeeping abroad where you can pay them what, like $4 an hour or something. But yeah, the quality is usually pretty bad. That's what I've heard. Even some tax preparing firms do that. They'll outsource the simple tax returns abroad. But then there's so much cleanup involved that they had to stop doing it. I know a guy here in the Chicago area that I'm friends with that tried this, and he's like, I'm not doing that again. So, yeah. Let's see what else we got. So, yeah, you were just saying that you want to complete. So, you've done 2 of the EA certificate exams so far,
Correct.
right? 2. So,
1 and 3.
1 and 3. And you want to get it, was it in the next 6 months? You want to get that final one down, or?
I'm gonna try to get it done in February because
Okay.
not only am I have my own business, not only am I working multiple jobs and studying and training 2 new people, I'm also remodeling a house as well.
God, this man does not like to sit around and watch sports ball like I do.
Oh no, funny little thing. I'm the lazy one of the family. My sister has 5 jobs. Like
Really?
yes, it runs in the family.
Man, I'm the real lazy one apparently.
Oh, you're doing great. This whole internet thing, I'm trying to figure out how YouTube works. You're doing good.
Oh, well, thanks. Again, because Clary's not here, I'll say this, but I'm grateful he pushed me to do this. For years, he tried to get me to do this. I'm like, nobody gives a shit about taxes or accounting. He's like, you're wrong. So, let me see what else I have. So, I've got you're going to get that final certification. Tell me a little bit about, so you do want to go back into tax work because you like it.
Correct.
Do you have any sense of when you're going to start trying to get tax clients, or is that just kind of a ways off?
At this time, it's a bit of a ways off. I'm looking at 2025. I can't believe it's going to be 2024 so soon, but I'm
Very
looking at
soon.
2025 because the bookkeeping thing's going good. And next year, I really want to travel. Like now, if I have a remote job, I'm trying to figure out where I really want to live. So I'm going to travel. I'm going to get my enrolled agent done. I'm going to practice, and I'm going to get a bit of a tip, guys. When you're setting up an LLC, take your time. Think about where you really want to be. It's a lot more than you think it is, and
Yes.
don't go sole proprietor. And if you want a book to help you, I recommend Bachelor Pad Economics. They have a section about entrepreneurship. It's on page 168 and it tells you how to set up a business. Very good book.
Oh, we hawk Clary's products even when he's not here. The man lives a charmed life. He also just had a book come out a couple days ago that this is hilarious. It's called A World Without Men. And it got to be the #1 ranked book in the feminist theory category. Oh, I thought that was so freaking hilarious. Ugh.
I cannot wait until I get the book. It's coming tomorrow.
Mm,
I might buy my sister that book because I bought her the menu and she burned it
yep.
that day.
Really?
Yeah, she was not a fan.
Oh shit. I don't really read any. I mean, I read Clary's books a long time ago, but I haven't read any of the latest ones. But I may have to read the one that just came out, World Without Men. He actually sent a draft copy of it to my girlfriend, so maybe I'll just peruse it. He wanted her thoughts on it.
For a man who does not read, he's a very good offer.
Yeah, he I gotta admit, he does well putting his thoughts on paper, which sounds generic, but that's not something I do very well. I wrote a tax guide, but that's like reading an encyclopedia. It's not It's not very engaging.
I do dabble in writing, but I'm no good at it. I just get some commissions here and there. Like I really should just write a book. I need to get that done.
Well, someday you can talk about all of this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, bacon. Yeah. I'm being serious, man. It got to the. It, it got to be the number one in feminist theory. I mean, can you imagine the triggering that's happening right now with all those screeching like? "Arr!" That's what I think is so funny about it. But
Quick,
oh, go ahead.
good. Do you want to talk about my opinion on certifications for those that are not going without a degree?
Yeah, why not? Like, what do you think about all that?
Gotcha. The H&R Block tax course is amazing. It's a great $150. I highly recommend it.
It's
The
cheap.
Inuit bookkeeping course is great. Buy the middle tier or upper tier one so you don't so you have it for life. Make sure you cancel the subscription. It's like $30 a month. It's a very good course if you don't know anything about taxes or bookkeeping or anything. I'm currently doing Surgeon's Enrolled Agent course. It's good. It's helping me with the questions. It tests your knowledge. I highly recommend it. Their basic tax course is not the best. It was $500. I think I learned more from HR Block. I would avoid that. And
Uh,
yeah,
well, so if you had to put a price, a lot of the questions, not a lot, but I get some emails. They're like, "What's my cash like outlay? How much is it going to cost me to kind of learn how to do this and get up to speed?" We're talking less than $1,000, right?
less than 2 grand if you go the full hog because HR Block is 150 last time I looked. Very good course. If you get the QuickBooks on sale, that's $700. I paid 500 because it's always on sale for 25% off. The enrolled agent course is $700, but it's usually on sale as well. So 1,500.
Got a couple good advice. Chats here. Nick and Steve says that passkey learning system is great for studying the EA. Now, what did you buy any materials? What did you get for that?
I got the course from Surgeon.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
I'm not quite sure what passkey is. I'm going to look that up because I'm still
Were
trying to get my enrolled agent.
are you happy with it so far? The material you got?
Yes, I'm very happy with Surgeon enrolled agent course. It was worth
Okay.
the money.
I'll read this from Adam Nash. Some of the nitty gritty. J.K. Lassiter, your income tax. J.K. Lassiter actually does put out a pretty good tax guide. I originally hated them because technically that was like the competition when my dad and I were writing our own tax guide several years ago. We did that for several years, but no, J.K. Lassiter is pretty good. Like they break it down very well about
I
preparing your.
I would like to piggyback off that because I remember in the email you recommended them. I bought them
Yeah,
for 10. I bought the 2020 guys right next to me for $10 off eBay. It's an
yeah,
excellent book. I highly
uh,
recommend them.
very good. Yeah. Uh, have you ever heard of Fast Forward Academy for Study? I've heard of them, but
No,
I no, okay. They're supposed to get, and I've heard that they're good for studying EA as well. But you didn't mess with that.
I'll take a look into it because once my two bookkeepers are done, they put interest into doing and becoming an enrolled agent because they want to try it. So I'm willing to try anything with anyone. Why not?
Okay, yeah. Uh, Let me get back to just to get us back. This is one of those HR questions, but I do think it could be really beneficial for those who want to do what you're doing now. What's like a typical day or even a typical week like for you concerning all this? Like, is it just, you're busy, the morning and the evening, or you just kind of schedule your day how you want? Like what?
So this is one of the cons of having a W-2 job is you have to be there within a set time. So what
Mhm.
I do is I usually wake up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. every morning.
Mm, mm, mm,
I
mm, mm. What time do you go to bed?
I try to go to bed around 7 or 8 p.m.
Oh man, I really kept you up too late. My
Don't worry.
bad. But go on. Um,
You guys don't see this. I'm basically chugging some coffee. I like my instant coffee. Been drinking it for almost 30 years now. I highly recommend Franklin Finest. Great instant coffee. Not sponsored.
shoot, shoot, man. We should have done this earlier, but go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's been a busy day. So anyway, so I wake up early to work with my clients. I check in on them. I send them emails, see if they need anything. It's an email, so you don't wake anyone up. Once you're done with that, I get ready for my W-2 job after my walk in the morning, and then I'm just on my W-2 jobs, all three of them from early morning to about mid-afternoon, 9 to 5, as they say. And once that's done, I just do some work and that's it. It's very simple. It's just when you're there for your W-2 jobs, make sure you sit down, pay attention to them. And this is very important when you have multiple W-2 jobs. You have one main W-2 job. Treat them like a good client, keep them happy, because this is one of the perks of having a W-2 job. They give you insurance. I started looking at insurance. If I didn't have a W-2 job, it's outrageous. It's nice having one.
I will say, I for the record, because I get this question too, I pay at least $500 a year for my own professional liability insurance. It varies a little bit, but yeah, it's for me, it's worth paying for. But yeah, it's not cheap.
And also, like, health insurance is expensive too, especially when you don't have a W-2. That's my big thing.
Yeah, I have told people this. I have to get mine through healthcare.gov. What a shitty fucking website and a shitty everything. But I mean, I have to have health insurance. So
That's true.
so I have to agree with Bacon on this. I mean, I'm more likely going to bed an hour or two before that than getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm just, man, I don't know how you do it. You have my respect.
Well, I like waking up I like to be awake when the sun rises. It's a bit of a personal reason, but at the end of the day, ever since I worked my 80 hours work week, 13-hour shifts at night, my sleep schedule's all messed up. Like, I recommend everyone work night shift for a few years. It puts everything into perspective. I'm a morning person.
I feel like I'd do pretty well at a night shift job. Actually, during tax season, I get my best work done between about 8 p.m. and midnight. So it's just I'm wired that way.
I do too, because literally there's always a distraction. I remember I think a week or two, like, I was working, next thing I know, there's a cow next to me. I'm like, oh, the neighbor cow got loose.
Cow?
Yeah.
We're keeping your location secret, but yeah, he's in a place where there's cows.
I'm just like, what? It's like during the day there's distractions.
Oh, totally. Another question I wanted to make sure I got on here, and I asked you this when we were talking the other day, but is there anything in particular you both like and dislike about all of this? I mean, I know you like the remote, but is there anything else?
Yes, the remote is one of the main things. I came from an industry that you couldn't be remote. It's hard to patch someone up when you're remote.
Yeah.
But besides that, I like taxes because I did a few weeks of taxes. Of I'm helping people, I'm getting people money back, and sometimes they're happy and sometimes not. But I enjoy doing the paperwork and the forms. I'm used to that. Like, the
You're
regulations are fun. It's like a puzzle.
you're
I
also you're also starving the beast. You're reducing what the government gets, which keeps me going.
we can get into that later, but that's gonna be a 2 hour discussion.
Mm-mm.
But and then for bookkeeping, it's just like you are literally there making sure the business makes the right decisions, because not everyone is an accountant. You're there to make sure that they know what they're spending, how to save the company themselves money, and you're giving them a forecast. You're basically a doctor for the business. Because a lot of people, and this is where a lot of people go under, is they don't realize how they're wasting their money or their expenses.
I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, you're kind of your job is about the health of the business. Now, technically, bookkeepers don't always talk about that type of thing, but I mean, you're going to have the one, two, and frankly, a third punch: bookkeeping, taxes, and financial planning. I mean, that's some good stuff.
Well, and I'm still young too, which I have time and energy to do this. And to be fair, like, it's a rewarding business. Yes. Am I just looking at Excel spreadsheet and QuickBooks all day for the most part? Yes. Is it data entry? Yes. Is it reconciliation? Yes. But it's a job. It pays well if you know what you're doing.
Well, David Medina in the chat is talking about he's in the trades looking to switch over because I mean that's what I've heard about the trades. It can be absolutely brutal on your body.
Oh, so quick little background. I originally started in the trades. Like I said, I was a welder for a bit. I was a truck driver for a few years. I used to do roads. I used to do construction. You can't do that forever.
Mm.
Like, it's good to get those skills because I maybe end up building my own house, but you need to switch over. And with bookkeeping, and this is why I love bookkeeping, even if you start your own business and anything else that, like a restaurant owner or a trade business, you need to know how to run the books. And instead of paying someone like me, take the course, take a weekend, just learn how to do QuickBooks.
That's all you got to do.
And it's a tax write-off.
Everything's a tax write-off if you do it the
Very
right
true.
way. But not to be negativity here, but is there anything you don't like about all this? There has to be something.
It is a bit of adjustment. You are dealing with people. People are the best and worst part of your whole life. And besides that, like, you are going to get some stupid questions. But besides that, you just got to have a nice quiet environment while you're working remote. It is a bit of an adjustment for me because I'm not used to it. But besides that, it's a job. If you love your job, then what kind of drugs are you taking? I want some. Like, if you love it 100%.
Well, it's like Clary always says, it's called work. It's not fun. Your thinking cousin is a truck driver trying to come onto this side, thanks to Clary. And then we have another truck driving agent in the field, Alex Patino. Where can I get a course for bookkeeping? You want to tell him, Krab? We were
Hey,
talking
Alex. It's nice to see you. Thank you for donating lots of money to us and Clary. But it's good to see you, man. Inuit has the best QuickBooks certification bookkeeping course simply because they made the software.
Frankly, listen, I've talked about this. I kind of hate Intuit because I consulted with them, 7.5 years ago, and they sucked. But they are kind of the industry leader when it comes to that. So, Krab, we have a very important question here, and don't be shy.
Oh no!
Can you see that? Do you need me to read it?
Oh, as a bookkeeper, does he know / gets all the chicks?
Does he now get all the chicks? Do you get all the chicks, Krab?
No, no.
Well, at least you're honest. But once you're okay, we all know that accounting is not going to get the girls, but actually having your own business is a little bit more interesting than being a cubicle drone, and you make pretty good money too. So
I will admit it does help a little bit because you get to put CEO on the dating profile. That's about it.
Oh, do you do that? You
Of
put
course,
CEO?
I am the CEO.
Oh, that's true. That's not a lie. Shout out to James Burke, who's over there in the UK. James, I don't know if you're still here, but isn't it like 3:41 a.m. there? I mean, do you also wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning? Man, I don't know how you guys do it. And the real Uncle Hector, good to see you. I don't know if this is directed at Krab or me. I have not been picking up the girls, but I suspect Krab will be picking up the girls very soon because you're going to do that reconnaissance that you were talking about. And
Yep. Well, to be fair, like, how do you think I got crabs in the first place? Bad joke. I know.
Ooh, I thought it was an okay joke.
I just do the dad puns. I don't know why.
No, it works. It's a very accountant thing to do dad jokes. I don't know what the deal is. We all probably have bad dad bods too, but you don't have to confirm or deny that. So you guys, there are a few more super chats, and we can read those at the end. But I mean, I just wanted to make sure. Are there any other before we start to wrap things up? This is just such a good opportunity. Are there any other questions for Krab about becoming a bookkeeper? Because, like I said, there's probably not going to be too many opportunities where I can get somebody who did what Krab did on here, just because I know so many more tax folks compared to bookkeepers. But actually, while they think about that, this is my last question on my notes. Do you have any advice for those who want to follow in your footsteps with this? No experience, what's your advice?
My advice is just do it.
Just do it.
Like, just do it. Like, guys, it's never been this easy. I remember when I first got into my last career, I did over 2,000 interviews just for a job. It has never been this easy. Just take a week or two, get a course, find yourself a job, set up the LLC, and if you want to do the enrolled agent, do the enrolled agent. There's great money to be there. If you like bookkeeping, if you do mobile W-2s, you're looking at between $40 to $80 an hour. That's a good living as well.
That's very good.
And at the end of the day, it's just now's the time to do it. Accounting has so much to do that you don't need to be in person. And let's say you want to be in person, go do audit, go do tax. There's opportunities everywhere. But the perk is you're remote. You can be anywhere.
With tax, you don't even have to be in person anymore, but you also could be, if you wanted
True.
to.
And
Uh,
with bookkeeping, you don't have to be in person at all either now. There's no reason.
no, it's pointless.
And sorry, one more thing, guys. And if you guys want, I am training 2 other people right now, possibly 3, and we are putting together a teachable course in the near future. Please put as many comments or questions inside of the comment section. I'll be looking at it for a bit, and these questions may be put in the course to help other people because guess what? Opportunity. Let's go get some money.
I'm going to back that up. Yeah, if you're watching this on a replay and you do have bookkeeping questions, please do put them in the comments because Krab's going to read them. I'm not going to be giving out his email address. Remember, we have to keep everything anonymous, but please don't be shy in the comments. James, I was just curious where you are right now, if you're comfortable sharing. Driftar, the question about business liability insurance for bookkeeping business, the W-2 guys cover that, right? Is that what
correct? So
yeah.
My recommendation is, this is another great, thank you for reminding me about this, Drifter, I think it's Drifter. If you're just starting, get a W-2 job just for the experience because you can make mistakes there. It's on someone else's dime. If you have your own sole proprietor LLC or S Corp, get insurance. Insurance saves you so much money and headache. Just do it. And with the LLC, where are they going to confiscate? You don't have an office. They may take a laptop and that's it. Like, where are you going to get? Sue me.
Yes, when you have an LLC, the only thing they can take from you is whatever's in the LLC. They can't take your car, they can't take your house, all that stuff. David Medina, I'll answer this. How you got comfortable with QuickBooks before getting clients? He just took the course. He got certified with Intuit. Again, I don't really like Intuit, but that's kind of the gold standard for getting comfortable with bookkeeping. Kind of hate to say it, but it's true.
Take the course. They have excellent examples in practice. The bookkeeping crash course is excellent, in my personal opinion. And use that W-2 job. That's your experience. If you get fired, oh well, there's 5 more behind it.
Very true.
Funny story, I forgot to mention this. I actually quit one of my bookkeeping jobs, my W-2 job, one of them, because they're like, hey, everyone go back to the office. I'm like, okay,
nope.
Bye.
Ain't happening. Nope.
And they came back to me like, okay, we'll pay $5 more for remote. I'm like, thank you.
Whoever cares the least has the most power. It's just funny that way.
It's just like dating. That's all interviews are.
Perfect segue. I'm going to read this comment from Bacon because it's awesome. If I may say the quiet part out loud, I don't think any chick I've ever gotten with even knew what I do for my booze money. They always found out much later if they ever did at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think people care about that shit anymore. It's just whatever. If people find me...
God, sorry.
I was just going to say, I've had clients where I haven't necessarily said the nicest things about everybody who's on my client roster. They found my YouTube channel. They just laughed, they weren't offended. They're like, well, you do a good job. You may as well tell people about it. So nobody gives a shit.
And I agree. They usually don't find out later. And Bacon, I'm just going to say this. You have an excellent YouTube channel. You guys are very fun.
Oh, Bacon's amazing on Friday evenings. Bacon, I'm going to try to, I'm going to be doing my usual Friday evening relaxation thing, which I can't elaborate on what that is. But if I'm around tomorrow night, maybe I'll try to pop into your show, assuming you're doing it. Bacon's on every Friday evening. I think it's around 8:30 p.m. Pacific, but Bacon, correct me if I'm wrong. Very quick question here. I'll answer this one. Krab, how do you suggest getting clients? What's like we've been talking about, he just talks to people. And pretty soon he'll have a website.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Basically, talk to people in there every day because everyone asks what you do. And W-2 jobs, there's over 18,000 W-2 jobs that has QuickBooks in it. There's 40,000 bookkeeping jobs on Indeed or Monsters. LinkedIn as well is very good. Just go at it.
Catalonia, I'm jealous. And yes, incredible sunshine. Oh, I'm jealous. That's 20 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So he's in a good spot right now.
Oh, I'm jealous.
So am I. Let me just, I think we had just a few more super chats and then we will call it. So get your questions in now. You know what, Krab, if I pull these up, why don't you read them? You can see them, right? And everything I'm pulling up, you can see it?
Yep, I can see them. You're good.
All right, go right ahead.
All right. Brian says for $5, thank you for the $5, by the way. Starting QuickBook when my apartment built is complete. IPA, Zeppelin.
Sculpin. These are breweries and types of beers. I'll take that.
Gotcha.
Ballast Point, St. Lupulin. I haven't had that one. Odell Titan. I've had that, and the Great Divide Lagunitas. I have had that. So the only one I haven't had is the St. Lupulin. But cheers, Brian. Thank you for the super chat, and you have good taste in beer, if you don't mind me saying so.
I'm more of a caffeine person, but drink whatever you guys like, as long as it's
Krab's not a drinker, and I respect that.
All right. $10 from Cooper Time. Thank you, Cooper. I appreciate it. Intuit Academy has a 40-hour bookkeeping course that's free. Are either of you familiar with this? I just got QuickBooks certified. Congratulations. So will this course be good next step to get started?
Do you know about that? I'm just not. Like, I'm not.
I am unaware. Like, I'm going to do some bad things I don't like about Intuit. Their website is terrible. They hide things all the time. You can't find anything. And also, remember when you were mentioning about Intuit having a find a bookkeeping job for you?
Yeah.
I have a guy trying it right now. I started doing it because I was curious. They don't get back to you. From what I'm seeing right now, it doesn't work.
Well, that's not something I can speak to. Again, I'm just really not a fan of Intuit. But like I said, it's sort of like H&R for tax. I don't like H&R either, but you have to start somewhere.
True.
You know, and yeah, Intuit's just as good for learning how to do bookkeeping with QuickBooks.
Cooper, if you could, maybe put the link in the comment section and I'll look into it.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out too, because like I said, I'm always getting questions about bookkeeping. So I'll read this one. Alex Patino, $10. Here's my donation. Well, thanks, dude. Alex, you're always welcome here. You never have to donate, but when Cappy is not here, I always encourage you to donate, because that always just it's always really funny to me, because he likes to take half of them. So let me see what else. Oh, bacon. You want to read that?
All right. The bacon for $5.56. Interesting number. For someone's actual serious question in the chat. Okay, where's the serious question?
Well, I think he was just saying that, he's trying to support the show. And you know what, Bacon? I appreciate that. And yeah, I will be supporting your show very soon, hopefully. Let me just see if we have any other interesting comments here.
Keep them coming, guys. I like to rant.
Well, we got to close it out here. I try to keep it to about an hour and a half, but let me see. Oh, we got one more here. Can you see it?
Yep. Thank you for the $5 from your thinking cousin. Wow, is that easy? I found the website. Parentheses Intuit. Get on this. How about WG accounting program? I may enroll in that as well. So, good.
Okay. Krab, what are your thoughts on Western Governors University? And tell everybody why you decided not to go that route. This is important. This is a very good super chat. So say it again.
So after talking to Chad, I looked into Western Governors University a little more because Cappy does recommend it, and it is a great college. It's just I looked into what I wanted to do, and because at the time I was working nonstop, paying my own way in life, and at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't need a college degree for this. I don't need a CPA. All I need to do is get the enrolled agent, which I'm still working on. I just did the QuickBooks thing because there's a gap in the market right now, and I got it done in less than a month, which is for $500. That's less than a college degree.
You're thinking, cousin. I don't. Neither of us are saying don't go into accounting at Western Governors University. I actually think you don't. We're just saying you don't have to. It wouldn't be like the wrong choice or the worst thing to do. You just don't necessarily have to do it. And that's the only reason I wanted to bring this up. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Krab?
I completely agree. The way that I did this is abnormal, but we are in abnormal times. Yeah. But Western Governors University, if you are going to go to college, I highly recommend it. I went to college for 5 years. Western Governors University, you can do it in a year or two.
I'm going to read this one real quick from David Medina. I don't like the R of H&R either, but he volunteers with VITO, which is like voluntary. I forget what it stands for, but I think it's voluntary income tax assistance. It's basically, I mean, to be blunt, it's where you do taxes for poor people who have simple situations where you can get experience. I even did that for, I mean, eons ago. I did that. It's not really the worst way to go. So look into the Vita program on the IRS website if you want to get a little experience. That's all. That's tax prep, obviously. So
I think the lesson of this whole show was there are so many ways to get into this, guys.
yeah,
You just gotta make a plan, stick to it, study, and go do it.
it doesn't have to be college either. There's just a lot of certifications. I guess I just want to stress that, like, one thing I think Krab was able to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were able to feel comfortable with the type of work after going through those courses, and the certifications. You felt comfortable enough to kind of make the leap. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's all just kind of it's different ways of approaching the same thing. Oh, Jacob, I do see your super chat. I'm just going to do this one first because it's relevant. You want to read this one, Krab?
All right, you're thinking $5. Thank you for the $5. I want the degree because I want the CPA plus my job will reimburse me for tuition costs. If that's the case, good.
Wonderful. Good decision then. Very good decision. Yeah.
And one quick thing, if you guys want to get your enrolled agent or your CPA or try get a bookkeeping job, your W-2 job, they will most likely pay for your material. It helps.
Even part-time, you think they would? Or is that just
they're so desperate, probably. Ask them. Doesn't hurt.
Man, until I reconnected with Krab, I had no idea about the desperation in this realm out there. I knew it was like that, but I didn't know it was to that extreme. Damn.
It's bad. It is so bad. Quick thing, real quick.
Mhm.
If anyone can figure out what my icon is, please put in the comment section below. I'll be impressed if you could figure out what it is.
I would take guesses, but I'm so unhip at this point, All right, Jacob Dornbush for $20. Dude, you are too generous. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and read this one, Krab. As a web developer, where are the best channels or groups to go to market and help new practices with their websites? You know what? That is a very good question. So you're a web developer and you want to make websites for people who are starting their businesses. Now we're going to stick to our fields, bookkeeping, tax, and everything. Wow. I got to admit, I need to think about. Do you have any ideas, Krab? I'm going to have to think about it a little bit because I'm not.
So, ironically, I am actually in the middle of building a website with a friend of one of my bookkeepers, and there are so many services, but I know very little about computers. I even had difficulty figuring out how Streamliners work today. If you can find a niche and just saying, hey, I'll do small business web design, just make a business and try it.
I mean, you know what, Jacob? I don't know if this is going to be helpful, but I do want to recommend what you not do because I can't stand it when people do this. People did it today. I get not just web developers, but other people, social media, SEO optimization. I get people emailing me out of the blue, and I immediately just click spam on that because I hate that. I looked at your website and you could be doing so much better. I hate that. So I would say don't do that. I'm still trying to think of where you could go. There are a bunch of different forums, professional forums for tax preparers, CPAs. I just don't know if there's like one big main one, You know what, Jacob, I promise I'm going to think about this. My email is in the description. If you want to just get me your contact details, because this was a really good super chat. I just want to think about it a little bit because nothing's popping in my mind. So.
And also, Jacob, because thank you for the donation. I actually know a few IT people. I'll ask them. I'll put a comment down below.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Let me see. Bacon, poor people tax services. Bacon, you better be writing off both your cigars and booze and maybe even your food for what you're consuming while you're on your streams, because I know you're monetized now. So, yeah. We had some really nice comments here. Just before we close out, I thought this was a nice comment from Xenophone 2006. It's amazing how much encouragement everyone in here gives to each other to get in on this. As a guy who's doing this stuff all alone, this has really helped me keep motivated. Thanks, everyone. Well, you know what, man? Cheers to you, because that kind of motivates me to keep coming on and doing this, because sometimes I get paranoid that honestly nobody gives a shit about these streams, but hearing stuff like that just helps.
Well, I hate to be sappy, but you helped me out, which I appreciated. Now I'm helping people. It's like people really enjoy this channel, and we're all here to help each other because no one else is. So I'll drink to that. I need more
You know what?
coffee.
If there's any, this isn't about the beer money. It's just I want to help people. So if I'm able to do that, it kind of makes it worthwhile. So let me see if we got anything else. Probably can close it out. Oh, okay, Lord had a good comment. As someone who works in the programming field for a good while, there's a lot of options out there. First is first, go to a Fiverr for a while and other similar kinds. This may have been directed at the super chat from Jacob about where to build websites and everything. So I thought that may have been a relevant comment.
Yeah, Fiverr is a good website. I should have thought about that.
I think we're good to go. Another nice thank you message from Drifter. Krab, do you have any final thoughts before we close this out?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who came and listened today. I appreciate it. It was a very fun stream. And guys, if you have any questions, let me know. And it's really not that hard to get in bookkeeping. Think of it as a stepping stone if you want to do taxes, or maybe you're just happy with bookkeeping. But there's so much to offer. Just go enjoy it, guys. Go
And
have
I
fun.
do want, yeah, and just to follow, we're not going to share your contact information, Krab, but like you said earlier, please post your questions in the comments, because you're going to be looking at them, and we'll get your questions answered. So, Krab, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And when should we hang out?
Soon. Trademark.
Soon.